Bill Bontempi, Cheryl Caruana, Sean Kennedy,
Here, and forgive me for my tardiness.
Lisa Murray,
Here.
Rich Riker, Mike Chervasi,
Here.
Michelle Boudreaux, here, and Cheryl is here as well. If you would please stand, Lisa will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Behind you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we are going to begin with the International Field Trips 24-25 report. So we have Mrs. McGee here and some electronic students. So feel free to come on.
Right over here?
Yep. And just make sure you just press the button when you're ready to speak. Thank you for all being here tonight. Do I just press it?
There you go.
Oh, just one. All right, so we just wanted to make a quick presentation about some of the students that went on the Italy trip with me to basically say thank you for approving the trip and to give you an idea of what some of the wonderful things that we did. I know the presentation is behind you, but if you can see, so we started off, we had a very, very exciting, busy 10, 11 days. 11 days. We started our trip in Venice and we visited the island actually of Murano and Burano. That's Burano there in the top in the background. And we got to do some pretty exciting things. We saw a glass blowing demonstration and we got to take a gondola ride. And if I can go to the next, thank you. And then, like I said, very quick whirlwind tour. That was up in the left-hand corner, our main mode of transportation across Italy. So we were on that bus quite a bit, moving from Venice, and then we stopped in Pisa. We were there for the day, and then we went on to Florence, and we stayed in the town nearby and got to see all of the sites that Pisa and Florence offer. And I forgot to mention, in in Venice and Pisa and Florence and every other cities that we visited, we had guided tours, and they told us all of the history and the art and the culture about all the places that we were visiting. All right, and then on our way to Rome, so we spent a couple of days in Venice and Florence, and then on our way to Rome, we stopped in the beautiful city of Assisi, and those are the two pictures on the right-hand side. And I tried to get I tortured the students with as many group photos as I possibly could. And then we stopped, our first stop in Rome was the Vatican, so we toured the Vatican City. We went into St. Peter's Basilica. That is, there was 2 times on the tour where our group was a little on the larger side. There were 40 of us total. So this picture on the left of us in front of the Vatican, St. Peter's, we actually are half of the group, so that was our tour guide took that picture, and then the other group got a tour as well. And then we went on to see the rest of Rome, of course, and the Colosseum is there on the left, and then we had this most wonderful, wonderful tour guide. Her name was Maria Graziano, and she organized the tour that you see on the right-hand side. We're all sitting out in front of this museum. It was the Capitoline Museum. And we did kind of a scavenger hunt. And then, of course, we did not go without enjoying the treats of Italy. So there's some food and some gelato pictured there on the bottom left at Piazza Navona. So we definitely were partaking with the gelato and all of the pasta and pizza as we were making our way across Italy. Okay, and then we went on all of this in 10, 11 days. We made our way to southern Italy and we stopped in Pompeii, and again, this is where they split us into 2. So this is only half of the group. That's Mount Vesuvius in the background. And we just got to see the ruins of Pompeii and how much they've excavated. I actually had a chance to go there in 1998 when I was studying in college. So to get to go back so many years later and to see how much more they've excavated since then was pretty amazing. And I think the kids really enjoyed it. And then from there, our last stop was Sorrento and Capri. And this gave them a taste of the beautiful coast of Italy. And you can see that was the view from one of our stops up in the left-hand corner in Sorrento. And we took a boat cruise around Capri, and that's the 2 pictures on the right. So that is the tour. And then the next slide is just a question. We sent out a questionnaire afterward. And would you recommend this trip to a friend? They all said yes. The ones that I actually don't think I could have had more fun than I did. I've been talking about this trip so much and hyping up to my friends. I don't even know what number that is. It's 1,000,000% recommend this trip, I think. And then I got some great thank you cards on the last slide there from some parents and students, just how much they enjoyed the trip, how much they took from the trip. And so we just wanted to say thank you for giving us that opportunity and allowing us to do that. And if I could, is it okay if I turn it over to you 3?
Yeah.
All right, so why don't you give your student perspective?
Hi guys, I'm here too.
Yeah,
You came late.
Yeah, of course.
Push up a chair, it's all right.
Still tuning. Okay, so from a like a teenager's perspective, I know a lot of people can think like learning about like boring history and going to museums and stuff. No offense, this movie can be, as I said, boring, but this trip was like very, very entertaining. All of the museums, although some of them were like similar in a lot of people's eyes, it was just really like cool to see all of this stuff in person, because you can look up on like Google, like everyone knows what like the Sistine Chapel looks like, but not a lot of people have actually ever been in there. And I think it was really cool to actually get to experience this at such a young age. And then just like the culture, experiencing that. All of our tour guides were from Italy, and they brought a new perspective to things because they know kind of the inner workings and like the ins and out of Italy. And I think that was really cool. Like, and just meeting people from CHWRSD. Like, I know a lot of the people that I hung out with on this trip, I didn't necessarily even know what their names were, let alone talk to them a lot. And I think it is really cool to see the people that I bonded with on this trip in the hall, say hi to them, catch up, and then bonding with teachers. And Miss McGee had a great amount of time to spend with us on this trip, and she enjoyed it so much. And he enjoyed it just as much. And like, I know the teachers that went on the trip, I am really comfortable with now, even though I was pretty comfortable with Miss McGee before. But I have more adults that I trust in the school and than I had before, and I overall just think it was a really great, positive, eye-opening experience. That was a lot.
There you go.
I had a great time. I thought that the culture was really cool, especially having a tour guide from Italy. She showed us like a lot of cool things that I feel like tourists, like if you just went by yourself, you wouldn't see, but she knew like the special spots or like the cool food places or cool views that like wouldn't have as many people there seeing. And I just think spending time with like all your friends going, like you're never going to do that again with people. Like you don't just book a trip to Italy with your friends. So I feel like having an opportunity in high school was really cool. And I just thought it was, like you said, a good experience. We learned a lot. We saw a lot that like even my parents hadn't seen. So I think it's cool, like they got jealous of me. And that was fun. But yeah, I thought it was a really fun time.
I also had a really amazing time, and I'd say that I'll take it like a different route, I guess from like a financial standpoint. I thought it was really important because I got a job like the summer before leaving for Italy, because obviously it was a little bit of an expensive trip, so it kind of taught me some like more financial morals and how to like budget my money, like better ways to spend it. Like when I would get paychecks, knowing like, okay, I need to put this money away to Italy, like working on my savings. So I thought that was like really good because it helps teenagers like help learn about like budgeting their money. So I thought that was like really interesting for the trip. And also, like Elena said with the tour guides, like we had an amazing time with Maria. She was like one of the sweetest ladies I've ever met. And I definitely say the food was amazing. I probably spent more money on gelato than I did gifts for my parents. Which I'm sure
It
they
was
were
like
happy
4
about.
times a day.
Yeah, we would try to have competitions on who could get the most a day, and I think someone got up to like 5 times they went to get gelato. So I thought that was great, and I definitely have like, I feel like I'm a well-traveled person because my parents have like the ability to let my brother and I, we go on vacations, and I'd say Italy was by far like my favorite trip because of the sights we got to see, like the Sistine Chapel, like the ceilings were beautiful. And I feel like it's something that I'm really glad I signed up for because I know, especially like, I feel almost sorry for some of the kids who would see the Instagram and like watch us on each of our little days, like the trips we were seeing. So I feel like having another trip is great for the kids that didn't have the opportunity to go to Italy. So,
Can I just add something really fast?
Yeah.
I think that a really good part was also our free time, because it allowed us it allowed us time to be like independent, and we got to do our own thing, and it made us feel like older than we probably should have been. But I think it was a really positive experience, and we got to see stuff by ourselves, spend our own money, do our own thing, and I feel like that was really like maturing, at least for high school.
Okay, so this is actually my first international trip ever. I come from a family like a little opposite of Sophia. I'm not really well traveled. I don't go anywhere. It's too hard for like my parents to figure out how to get everyone to go on one trip. So to have the opportunity to go on a trip like Italy and have the supervision that I wouldn't get if I had my whole family there, it was really comforting. I didn't know any of the teachers that I went with before, but now I see Miss McGee after school. I bother her every day. I ask her, hey, how's the trip coming? Are we going next year? I say hi to Miss Moriarty in the halls, Miss Sarah, Miss Pitcher. Literally, like, I don't think there's a person there that I'm not comfortable with now. Like, honestly, just kind of, we became a little family in Italy. We even had karaoke night one time on the bus. So I remember that. Some people had voice cracks. I remember that too. But I went to Italy. I don't speak Italian. I take Spanish 4 though, and there was a group of kids from Spain. So I literally spoke Spanish to them. And I came back, I told Dr. Benedetti. She was really proud of me. I was really proud of myself. So I met kids from Italy. I met kids from Spain. Luckily over there, a lot of them know English, so I was able to talk with them, even though I tried to speak well to the kids in Spanish. My Spanish still isn't perfect, so they talked to me in English a little bit so I could understand them more. But I was able to talk to kids my age about their lives, what they do. Definitely a little different than mine. Europe, just the food there was maybe second guess a lot of the stuff that we eat here. The pasta was really good every night, but also I feel like the organization was really, really good for us because we had a tour guide, Maria, who, you don't mess with Maria. Like, she wanted you back at a certain time, and you were back at that time. Otherwise, Maria was not happy. But so, as a first-time traveler to a place like Italy, obviously, like, I was really nervous with my passport, going to the airport, getting home and stuff. But Miss McGee had everything on lockdown. We got to the airport. She was the boss lady when we were there. Like, we were cruising through that line. And then when we got there, everyone was just so excited to learn. Like, sometimes you come to school and you're in a class setting and you don't choose necessarily to be in a class setting, but everyone in Italy chose to be in Italy. You chose to go there because you wanted to learn, you wanted to experience what it was like to be in another country. So it was just really great. Like, I didn't even know the Leaning Tower of Pisa was a bell tower. But I found out, and I found out a lot more about it too that I definitely couldn't have told you before I went. So I just feel like the life lessons and the educational lessons I learned there were truly incredible. I had also gotten a job. I work at Rice Farm, so if you see me now, you can say hi. But yeah, so that was great too. But overall, just Italy was honestly amazing. If you talk to any of the kids that go, or if you even scroll on social media, every other post is about Italy. They're still posting TikToks about it, still Instagram posts. I talked to one of my friends, Lindsay, in Spanish every day, and she's like, Mackenzie, like, why aren't we in Italy right now? I'm like, I know. Tell my parents I literally want to go study abroad there because it truly was just a life-changing experience. Like, I never looked at life from another perspective than I did when I was there, so, yeah.
Excellent. I'd like to ask you, if you wouldn't mind, 3 questions. You kind of already answered one of them. Would you go back?
Oh,
Yes.
What was your favorite city? And what was your favorite food? And if it was gelato, what flavor?
Okay, 1000% I would go back. I literally talk to my cousins probably every day. I'm like, guys, you gotta convince mom to go, please. My favorite city, honestly, really hard to pick because whether it was the sights or the experiences I had there kind of differs. When we went to Sorrento, it didn't necessarily have the historical sites that Rome did, but I found this little lemon farm and I made my own lemonade. And it was like incredible. Like I just had so much fun doing that with my friends. My favorite food there, the pasta, like 1000%, and also Nutella. Oh my gosh, they love it there, and I didn't know that. So I went and they have everything with Nutella. They've got cappuccinos, croissants. I was eating all of it. It was really good.
I would definitely go back. I know I would probably go with my family because they're definitely jealous that I got to go. My favorite city was probably Assisi because of like the religious like standpoints and all the sites you got to see. It also made me a little biased because that was my birthday. I turned 17 there, so I thought that was awesome. And my favorite food, aside from the gelato, which my favorite flavor was probably mango, was the gnocchi, and they had all the different sauces you would put it in. It was so good. It's completely different from what you eat here in the States, and it's like, I just would love to go back and just get a bowl of gnocchi.
I would definitely go back also. And my favorite food would also be like any pasta dish. A lot of times Audrey and I would split stuff because we can never decide on one thing. So we would just get multiple plates and then switch it. So I definitely think we tried everything there. And then, my favorite city was probably Rome because I really liked that you could just be walking around on a random street and then there was just a historical building somewhere. And it was just like, why is that here? But I liked seeing all the stuff, the shops, they were good, the food was really good. It was like busy, like a good busy with people so you could people watch, I guess you could say, but.
I would also definitely go back. I know my mom and no one else in my family has ever been to Italy, but my dad went when he was younger with his family, and when I came back, he loved asking me if like specific things were still the same, and I was like, yes, Dad, yes. But my favorite food was probably the gelato. I won one of the awards one night because I got the most gelato. My favorite flavor had to be stracciatella. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but so good. I used to work at Rice's. Rice's stracciatella, although it's good, it doesn't match the Italy gelato version of it. And my favorite city was probably Venice because I think it was just so like cool. I feel like everyone knows like Venice on water, blah blah blah. But I feel like the colors were just so beautiful, and I think it was me and Elena that like turned down like one of the like cracks between the buildings, and we just like opened into this beautiful like little neighborhood, and it was so like surreal to remember that like this isn't just like a tourist attraction. Like people live here in the summer, and there were cats roaming around everywhere. It was really cool. It was one of the earlier days in the trip. I think it was the first day. Yeah. And it was kind of the moment where I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm actually in Italy. Like this is so awesome. And also, before I wanted to add, like another thing that I loved about the trip was like the like safety of it. I don't tend to be a nervous person, but I know a lot of other people like on the trip were kind of they're a little bit nervous people, but I feel like even though we went to like Florence and Rome and blah, 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 pickpocketing, like, havens, I feel like everything was super safe. We had like a strict, you need to be with like multiple people system. We had check-ins all the time. Like, we had like little group leaders, like the chaperones would be leading, like a group of 5 or 6 people, and we would check in with them all the time. And the hotels were in good locations, safe, and I feel like that was just really like securing.
Wow, thank you, Ms. McGee.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for giving us the approval to go and allowing us to share our tales with you. All right, so I know you've got some pictures maybe to look at for Costa Rica. I can't speak to Costa Rica because I didn't go, but I know Kristen Hicklin and Teresa Benedetti were just as excited about their trip. They couldn't make it tonight, but I know that they were sharing that with you. So thank you. Thank you. All right.
Thank you so much.
Ladies, so much, thank you.
Thank you.
So there are packets of Costa Rica. It's also in your folder. You're welcome to take that.
That pure joy was just intoxicating. It was great.
We will continue with the Assistant Superintendent for Finance Operations and Human Resources, Aaron.
Alrighty. So you have a financial report through May 31st. Shows us in pretty good position to end the year, $908,000 remaining in the budget, with $300,000 that we can move over to ESSER and expenses. So that leaves us at about $1.2 million. As per my memo, we will continue to spend money throughout the end of the month. But at the same time, we have within sort of the encumbered line there are hundreds of purchase orders, right? So when we put in a purchase order, it encumbers money, and we don't always spend all of that money. So there will be points where we will release some encumbrances. So this is the point when spending really kind of slows down, right? So I'm hopeful. I always hate speaking about how much money we might end up with or where we might end the budget, but I'm hopeful we will be in a good position to put a fair amount of money into E&D at the end of this year. I speak to a couple lines, electricity, which I've been following carefully. It actually seems like we'll be pretty close to budget on electricity for all things, despite where we kind of projected. One of the things that's really hard to predict is the solar credits we receive. They run in line with the cost of electricity, so when electricity goes up, we get more solar credits. Plus, it also has to do with the amount of sunny days and days when the solar farms are producing. So there's a lot of variance in that, so it seems like it was a good year for our sort of solar metering credits and things like that. And then finally, you will see that we are beginning to close lines out. So I've closed 2 lines out, and I speak to health insurance that will be closed out soon. And just like I did last year, as we close those lines out, I will gray them out and I will mark that they're closed out. I'm happy to take any questions.
That memo that you have us authorizing you, we can do that in July, correct?
Authorize me to do what?
Over the summer to spend what you have to spend? Yeah, it might.
It's to transfer funds between line items without school committee approval.
Yeah.
To close.
Yeah, sure, we can do that later. We don't need to do it today. Okay. Sorry, thank you.
Okay.
That's it? Okay. All right, thank you. It's not time for public comment. Is there anyone here that is interested in making public comment this evening? Okay. Anyone online here? Okay. We will continue. We'll move to the subcommittee updates, and we'll begin with the curriculum subcommittee. Lisa.
Hey.
Sorry, I was signing.
It's your update for the curriculum subcommittee.
Okay. Sean correctly, the We went over the Wilbraham Middle School Program of Studies. Some of the biggest changes were the scheduling will focus on the 4 core subjects of English Language Arts, Math, Social Studies, and Science, which will meet for 58 minutes each day and no longer have a drop block. This will result in 30 to 35 more hours of core instruction for the year. Creative writing will be replaced with journalism and then have the potential for a school newspaper. There will be an addition of a win block, which is a what I need block, added to the schedule, and students will be able to receive Tier 2 interventions or enrichment during this time. In 7th grade, STEM and Spanish will move from core to related arts in order to focus on the 4 core subjects. So this means STEM will now be accessible to 6th, 7th, and 8th, and Intro to Spanish could be available in 6th or 7th grade. Is there anything else, John?
No, I think those are the major changes. We're not adding Italian.
Second.
So I guess we're looking for a vote to approve the middle school program of studies.
I make a motion to accept the middle school program of studies.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Thank you. Are there any other questions for Lisa? Okay, we'll move on to the planning sub. Oh, do you have it? Actually, we're done for the year.
Yes.
Okay, so planning subcommittee, we have nothing to report at this time. Finance and operations subcommittee, Sean?
Nothing to report at this time.
So we'll move on to the LPDA collaborative representative, Lisa.
Okay. We met yesterday and had a year-end review presentation of Mr. Martin's first year as executive director. We had union negotiations update. We went over very briefly the executive director evaluation, and we had the annual election of officers, and I am the vice chairperson for LPVEC.
Congratulations.
That's all. Okay. Any questions? Okay. Moving on to negotiation subcommittee, or something to report. Move on to policy subcommittee, Mike.
Okay. So before I start reading off all the policies, there was a request from the policy subcommittee to read one policy in full. It's not a terribly long one for the committee to hear. And it is the first reading for this policy. It is policy KA, School and Community Relation Goals. The school committee believes that the district is an integral part of the community and that community support is necessary for the district's operation and achievement of excellence. The school committee and district staff members recognize that community support is based on a mutual exchange, a dynamic process in which the district contributes to the community's success and in turn benefits from the community's resources. In order to maintain productive relationships with the community, the district is committed to sustaining the following: effective, accurate, and meaningful communications that facilitate dialogue, encourage involvement in district programs, and create community advocacy for its public schools. Volunteer programs that provide mutually enriching experiences for our students, staff, and community volunteers. Recognition programs that publicly honor the contributions of our students, employees, and community partners and express pride in our individual and collective accomplishments. Community service efforts which enable the district staff and students to express their commitment to the community. This is not a new policy for us. There was only an additional source that was added, which was approved by the policy subcommittee. For the second and third reading, I'll just memorandum on first reading of the
Wait,
following.
may I ask you, what was the reason that you wanted that read out loud?
It was a request from someone on the subcommittee, and I didn't have an objection. Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, I requested it only because it pertains directly to the school committee and the school committee's role and responsibilities with regards to community involvement. So I think it bears sort of public expression and public recognition to say, you know, these are goals that the school committee has, and you know, as this, I won't be here, but as the committee moves forward, you know, it's always something to keep in mind.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay, memorandum on first reading for the following section, I policy, IJNBB, use of technology in instruction. Memorandum on first reading of the following section, J policies, JB, equal educational opportunities, JBB, educational equity, JFABE, educational opportunities for military children, JFBB, school choice, JX, school absences and excuses, JHD, exclusions and exemptions from school attendance, JIC, student discipline, JICA, student dress code, JICE, student publications, JICFA, prohibiting of hazing, JICFB, bullying prevention, JIH, searches and interrogations, JII, student complaints and grievances, JJ, co-curricular and extracurricular activities, JJE, student fundraising activities, JJF, student activity accounts, JJIB, interscholastic athletics, JKAA, physical restraint of students, JL, student welfare, JLC, student health services and requirements, JLCA, physical examinations of students, JLCB, immunization of students, JLCC, communicable diseases, JQ, student fees, fines, and charges. Memorandum on the first reading of the following section, KML policies, we already did KA. KBA, student, school, parent, guardian, relations goals. KBE, relations with parent booster organizations. KDB, public's right to know. KDB, news, media relations, news releases. KE, public complaints. LBC, relations with non-public schools. Memorandum on third reading of the following policies and possible votes, so looking for a motion to approve. IJNBB, use of technology in instruction. GBEE, personal use of technology. JIJC, student use of technology in schools. KDC, community use of digital resources.
Just a quick question. You have 3 listed in our agenda, but you mentioned 4.
Can you repeat the policies that you?
Was there a typo in
The one before KBE, I mean GBE, excuse me. The first one you mentioned.
Can you list the four?
That first one was an error. It's, that must have been, was that a typo, Aaron?
No, right here she has 3 of them. GBE.
Yeah, but I have the one from
JIJC,
online that was sent last time, so it must have been a typo that got
Yes, I
carried over.
removed that one, yeah, I moved it up to the, sorry, moved it up to the top because it was a,
It was the first reading. Okay, so let's do that again. Memorandum on third reading of the following policies and possible vote. We have 3 of them, GBEE, JIJC, KBC.
I make a motion to accept the third reading of those 3 policies.
second.
All those in favor?
Just before we do that, I just wanted to clarify that one of the things that we had talked about, and we had mentioned in an earlier meeting, was the acceptable use policy, and that was part of the policy a long time ago. If you remember when Julie was here, did excellent work, and we had discussions in policy subcommittee about you know, whether or not we wanted to dispose of that, and we ended up, Virginia was there, John was there, and I think we came up with a very viable solution, which was the acceptable use policy will actually be included in the student handbook. So that work doesn't get tossed. I think it's important. I think there's a lot of good information in there. So that will stay. The policy will be shortened considerably to what MASC recommends. However, that acceptable use policy will be generated. There is a policy, and I would defer to Jackson, I can't remember which one it is, but talking about acceptable use between John and Bill Powers, we'll come up with with sort of the official language for that. So I just wanted to make clear that we weren't going to throw all that work out, because I thought it was very valuable.
Yeah, the MASC recommended truncating the policy and giving it, the new policy has very broad language to it, just because things are changing so rapidly. It kind of makes sense, and at least at the policy level, for it to be more broad. But the more detailed information is going to go into a guide or procedural manual that's going to be put together. That'll be able to be edited, much more real time, or whatever the next thing after AI is, for instance. AI. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you guys. We don't have any further meetings this year of the policy subcommittee.
And I would say that to Mike, nice job. Cheryl, nice job. John, excellent job. I believe we got through every single policy update that was recommended through MASC.
We sure did.
Congratulations.
No, there was one we didn't, but it was not included in the, it was accidentally not included in the public. Correct. So, but since it's only one, it's going to be tabled until the next session. After the organization.
Nice work.
We'll move on to the technology subcommittee.
No report.
Okay. Superintendent Evaluation Committee. We did meet, the subcommittee, we met on Tuesday evening to review and discuss a summary. So I'm going to actually ask Bill if you would
Sure.
prepare the summary.
So Michelle, Cheryl, and I met Tuesday evening, and it was a long, very fruitful discussion. And thank you for all of your reviews and all the efforts you put into it. And Michelle actually had written this, so I'll give credit, but I'm going to read the summary that she provided based on that. This is the end of cycle superintendent evaluation summary. I'm pleased to present the final summary of the end of the cycle superintendent evaluation, reflecting on his first 2 years in our district. When a superintendent joined our district 2 years ago, he brought with him a wealth of experience, calm demeanor, and a thoughtful, intentional approach to leadership. From the outset, he's been collaborative and has inspired confidence to his actions, always leading by example. These qualities have earned him an overall summary performance rating of proficient. Standard 1, instructional leadership. In his role, John has excelled in instructional leadership, receiving a proficient rating. He quickly demonstrated his ability to make informed decisions using data, which has led to notable improvements in student performance. His organizational skills were apparent in the way he presented the superintendent evaluation artifacts for review, ensuring they were pointed and deliberate. Not one to shy away from challenges, he embraced the second iteration of the multi-tiered system of supports document, showcasing his drive for continuous improvement. Standard 2, management and operations. John's skill in management and operations has also been rated proficient. His comprehensive understanding of the budget and its impact on education has been invaluable. He has consistently communicated financial information clearly and concisely to various stakeholders, including government agencies. His ability to attract top caliber staff and foster a collaborative and respectful work environment has strengthened our district. His experience and leadership qualities have promoted consistency, trust, and transparency, strengthened by his knowledge of state and federal laws and school committee policies. We encourage him to continue reassessing our district, continuing making adjustments to keep us on track. Standard 3, family and community engagement. In the area of family and community engagement, John's prioritized open communication, listened attentively, and taking responsibility in all situations. His efforts have earned him a proficient rating. He continuously seeks opportunities for growth and understanding of the importance of connecting with our community. Moving forward, we recommend he filters information to focus on data-driven and evidence-based decisions and increases his visibility within the community. Standard 4, professional culture. Lastly, in fostering a professional culture, John's strong leadership and calm control have inspired confidence among staff and community. His commitment to high standards and continuous improvement have been evident throughout his tenure. He listens, is responsive, and demonstrates humility by giving credit to those around him. For this standard, rated proficient, we suggest he continues to build support from those who share his vision to further our collective goals. In conclusion, our superintendent's first 2 years have been marked by solid and efficient performance across all evaluated standards. His dedication and positive impact on our district are greatly appreciated, and we look forward to his continued leadership as we navigate the challenges and opportunities ahead. Thank you, John.
Thank you. I want to thank everyone who participated in that process. As someone who does evaluations myself, I know how grueling it is and how detail-oriented it is. I really appreciate the feedback, and most of all, appreciate the opportunity to work here and the opportunity to continue working here. It's a really wonderful place. It's a great district. I think you see that in just about every meeting, and it's been a pleasure. So thank you.
Here, here. So the one thing that I did want to say is if you turn into your packets somewhere in there, I know that Aaron had included a sheet. It's probably further back in the policies, and it's basically this sheet right here, which essentially when we do the ratings, we assign a score for each one of the potential ratings, right? So, you know, not doing well, getting somewhat done, getting mostly done, you know, or, not good, needs improvement, proficient, exemplary. I would say that when you look through these scores, and you'll see the circle scores way to the right, John trended above proficient, so each one of the ratings that he had in the in those 4 evaluations that we just discussed, he was proficient plus. So I would like to make note of that, because it wasn't like it was a 2.7 that was rounded up to a 3, It was 3.2, 3.3, 3.3, 3.3. So excellent work. The other thing that I just want to draw your attention to was the evaluation for the goals. It was a little bit, there were actually for some reason there was 2 documents that went out. So some people had one document that listed 3 goals, some people had one document that listed 4. But part of the evaluation is to evaluate the superintendent on the achievement of the goals. And we only had like 4 responses on that sort of covered those 4. However, John did such a great introspective piece when he did his own self-evaluation that I think it provided excellent guidance for us to understand that, the 4 goals that he had presented, he gave a very frank assessment of where we were. And we certainly didn't meet every goal, but made progress, in a lot of cases significant progress. And the one that he did meet was the website, and the website was a home run. So we all agreed that the great work on the goals is hard. There's a lot of things that come up, but again, I think everybody recognized the significant gains that were made in that regard. So just wanted to make that a public record, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Lindsay.
Does anyone like to add anything else before we need to vote on the evaluation?
I have really enjoyed working with you. And I am delighted that you were such a hard worker, and nothing was too small to lead. Nothing's too small to lead. You will make sure it's right. Thank you.
I think I actually wrote this down, and I've said it to you, that if I had to genetically engineer the perfect superintendent, you're better than what I would have come up with. I'm really so happy with your humanity. I'm so happy with how everything shares an importance, and the people are important, and please just keep doing what you're doing, and keep challenging yourself, and thank you so much.
I will be departing, but I am very glad that you came into the district. You have shown an incredible amount of leadership. I feel fortunate that we have you on board. So as you move on in your career, I'll be in the community, so if you need anything, let me know.
May I have a motion? You do need to vote on the superintendent evaluation.
I make a motion to accept the superintendent evaluation as presented today.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, motion carries 6-0. Thank you very much.
And Michelle, thank you very much for doing that document.
No problem.
Very nice.
Thank you for
Really.
the timeline. Thank you everyone for filling it out, but also thank you for your time Tuesday. Getting it done. Consent agenda.
Make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, motion carries 6-0. Thank you. On to the superintendent's update.
Thank you very much. And along the lines of recognizing others, I know that we have Renee here tonight, so I'm going to be talking a little bit about innovation pathways. If you want to join in at any time, feel free to come up. And thank you for the work you've already done on this.
Just as a point, when you said that, she was going.
I saw that. I've got content, it's okay. So let me begin, as usual, with the enrollment report. As of June 1st, we had 2,857 students, which is 4 less than the prior month. And now we'll move on to innovation pathways. So we've discussed innovation career pathways in the past, and I've been encouraged by the committee to begin working towards a potential pathway designation. There's been a lot of work on that front over the past 2 weeks that I want to update you and the community about. On May 29th, a team of district personnel, including Renee, as well as staff from the middle school, the high school, and central office, attended the DESI workshop for prospective innovation career pathway applicants. Some of the materials from that session are in your packet at the end. So you'll see the one that has the DESI logo and map of Massachusetts. I'll be referring to that for the next couple of minutes. Directing your attention to slide 11, you'll see some of the principles of the innovation career pathway model. These include rigorous academic preparation for post-secondary education or training. That means at least 2 of the courses pathway students would have as part of their high school experience are advanced placement, project lead the way, or dual enrollment courses. Another principle is that students' coursework would be aligned with one of 6 high-demand, high-growth, high-wage industry sectors. The 6 possible industry sectors are healthcare and social assistance, advanced manufacturing, information technology, business and finance, environmental and life sciences, and clean energy. Alignment means that pathway students would have at least 2 technical courses aligned with one of those sectors, with the goal of obtaining industry-recognized credentials as part of their high school education. The pathway also needs to be based on collaboration and partnerships between high schools, post-secondary institutions, workforce employment boards, and employers. The pathway needs to include a 100-hour culminating work-based learning experience in the sector, and the program needs to be provided within the mainstream so that students are able to meet local requirements for graduation without having to attend a separate school or program. Even though the sectors themselves are very broad, with the opportunity to accommodate lots of individual student interests, it should be easy for students to step off the pathway if they decide that's not for them. By making sure the pathway keeps students on track and in their school, it makes it easier for them to step aside if they decide that that field is really not for them. It's really a means of keeping their options open. So next, I'd like to bring your attention to slide 23, which is one of my favorite slides from this because it's one that's had me thinking a lot. This is the DESI Career Development Model, and it's intended for all students, not just students in pathways. What I've been thinking in particular about is the self-discovery and career awareness activities that students would have beginning in middle school under this model. And I think that would be a shift for us, but I think it's a good shift because it would help students really think about what they hope to get out of secondary education so that they can make more planful choices about their secondary education. Finally, I direct your attention to slide 33. which shows the application cycle. As you can see, Part A of the process takes about 8 months, going from April to November. During this time, districts are invited to complete what is known as the Part A application, which is sort of a rough draft application explaining their ideas for what a pathway might look like in their schools. This is submitted to DESE in October or November. Then, DESE will invite some of the most promising applications to submit a Part B application, which is a more detailed version of the proposal. Then, by April of next year, the commissioner will award designations to some of the applicants. So, since the workshop on the 29th, we've held meetings with the Regional Workforce Board and STCC, both of which are excited to partner with us. Last Friday, DESE posted a competitive pathway planning grant, which we have written and is ready to go. As you will see, before I go to that, our only obligation if we receive a planning grant is that we must complete a Part A application. So as you'll see from slide 35, if we are successful with both Part A and Part B applications, we then become eligible for implementation grants, support grants, and skills capital grants. So my only question for the group tonight is, are you ready for us to hit the send button on a grant application?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, all right.
100%, John, hit the ground running, this is
Okay.
great.
Okay. Anything you want to add?
No, I've been learning a lot about the Innovation Counseling Program for the last couple of years. I'm very involved on the State Counseling Association.
Just because it's being recorded, so it would be awesome to have you.
There was no way you were escaping this.
Sorry.
For the past several years, I've been learning a lot about the Innovation Pathways designation, along with MyCap, which you will all learn about as we go through this process. As a counselor and a counselor who's very involved with our state organization, I've been to several trainings geared towards counselors and their role in rolling this out, implementation, and continuing the program and the fidelity of the program. So it's been really fun to learn. It's been really nice to have a superintendent who is really gung-ho about getting it started and getting it going. And as counselors, we will do our part to track, to collect the data that we need, to implement, and kind of go forward. So I'm really excited about it. I think it gives a great opportunity to so many of our students. In the last few years with doing the work-based learning program, we've hit a lot of roadblocks, as you know as well, especially with healthcare, and as you know as well. And now having this community partnership, it's almost a guarantee that they will take your students for these opportunities because they've made that commitment. So again, I just think it's a really great opportunity for our students. It starts them off just not committing to a career in 8th grade, but just that exposure, getting them thinking about what options are ahead for them.
Thank you so much for your dedication to this, and I think it's outstanding. It's something that, that I've said for a long time, is we spend an awful lot of time educating our students, and we spend precious little time actually thinking about what they're going to do with that education. So this is a great opportunity to begin to try to funnel these kids. And like you said, as you look at course selection through their secondary education, a lot of it can be tailored to what their career might look like.
Right. And I think too with these programs, I just look at myself and my experience in college. I sat down with my advisor my junior year, and she said, you're one class shy of a sociology minor. I didn't know, I was already taking classes, so I think as we do course selections with kids, we're gonna find that, maybe some of their courses, they are kind of in the pathway anyway, so it might take a course or two by their junior year to fully implement it. So there might be some little surprises along the way that we weren't necessarily planning for. And that's why I like the flexibility too of the pathways, because you can go in or out. It's not like, the CTEC program, which is wonderful for kids who want to pursue that, but you're in, and then you're out, Like there's no in between. Whereas this, you can, if you decide I don't want to go into a healthcare pathway, but I really enjoyed my anatomy class, that's great. And you don't necessarily have to be in the pathway to take anatomy. You know what I mean? So I like that flexibility that's in it too. And I hope to grow more pathways as we continue.
Excellent, and please, anything that you need regarding this, please don't be afraid of coming to any of us on the committee or the committee itself. Thank you.
And I know Renee mentioned healthcare twice. We will be doing some conversations with middle school families to figure out what pathway they want, but I'll say I have a strong bias towards healthcare based on data that we received from the Regional Workforce Board showing that 2/3 of all jobs in the Pioneer Valley that they've identified as their priority jobs are in healthcare. So it seems to be the industry that our area of the state has been specialized in.
And can I just chime in one more thing? Sure. So for the interns who applied for their senior year internship, of the 72 students who applied for internship, 23 of them were in healthcare. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Renee.
Thank you so much, Renee.
And then I wanted to share one other piece of good news, which is that we have been selected to participate in the Tiered Math Academy, which is a grant from DESE. As you know, a lot of our work this year has gone into building the MTSS system, and we're always committed to improving it. We've especially been looking for Tier 2 math interventions to use with our younger students. Through our participation in the Tiered Math Academy, our staff will be trained to implement math recovery, which is a framework for assisting students who have difficulty mastering expectations for math performance, especially students who have underlying weaknesses in what is known as number sense. We'll also be working on the social emotional component of our MTSS next week with the District Climate Institute. So watch for MTSS 2.0, which will be back bigger and better than ever next year.
John, is there anything on your radar that you're doing for the, quote, gifted and talented students that we have to be able to challenge them more?
Yes, so that is part of our MTSS system too, because if you remember the diagram I gave you is sort of the rhombus, which had support for students who were struggling, but also extensions for students who are showing us ready for more. So that is one thing that I've asked principals to really think about as we design the next version of this. We did start this year. At several schools we had reading clubs for students who were maybe advanced in English language arts and didn't necessarily need the core instruction, so they could take some time out and participate in a book club with some peers. We also had a STEM program at Stony Hill, so some students were pulled out of class, I think once or twice a week, and they worked with volunteers who were in STEM fields in the community, and they just did projects that gave them extensions and more sort of exposure to things that they might do if they continue to develop that interest and ability.
Excellent, thank you.
Anything else? Okay, so for future agenda items we have, so actually before we get to future agenda items, if I could ask, so we've been asked by the Hamden Board of Select to see if we can have a joint meeting before July 1 to discuss TWB and the use of TWB. So I'm asking if people get other packets and see if they are available either on Tuesday or preferably Tuesday, otherwise on Thursday next week to meet with them.
We have a meeting next week.
We don't have anything scheduled beyond today, so this will just be the next.
Oh, I have some on my schedule.
I will be out of town in a different time zone on both of those days.
Okay.
Mostly next week. Unlikely I'll be able.
Okay.
Tuesday on
But
Friday.
there's a digital link.
Okay.
Thursday I can do.
I can do either day.
Okay.
Whatever you need.
Okay. So I believe on Thursday we would have 2 Board of Selectmen from Hamden. On Wednesday, I'm sorry, on Tuesday we would have all 3 selectmen from Hamden, and I believe on Thursday there would only be 2.
And what's the purpose again of this?
To discuss TWB, the building, and just usage, and just having a conversation.
Did they have a proposal or anything for us to consider?
No, but I think we haven't really broached the conversation, and I don't know that it's been a two-way conversation, definitely in the past year, so just having both boards here.
Is there a reason why they wanted to do it before the 1st of July?
Sooner the better. I think they'll get into more detail as to what their urgency is, but I do know that they have a number of things that they're not making decisions because they're waiting to see what happens with the building. That's the long and short of it.
What about the week of the 24th?
There's no availability. The superintendent is not available. So we chose dates where it works for the superintendent. And next Wednesday is on Juneteenth, so we aren't able to get on that day. So, and they have their board of select meetings on Mondays, so they're not available that day.
Would Thursday work?
I can double check. Sure, we can do Thursday. If people are, like I said, only 2 of their selectmen are available on Thursday, and they have 3 available on Tuesday. So I know Tuesdays are preferred day. But if they had to push and people were not available on Tuesday, we can certainly do Thursday.
What do you want to say?
I'm all tied up on Tuesday.
Okay, well, there's a link, a Zoom link, if anyone is able to log in. It's a conversation, we're not voting on anything.
Yep.
So it's just a conversation. And so we will send
So
an
we
email
do
and
the day.
confirm.
I would run it back to them, let them know that we've got one member that, I don't know, is Rich planning on being?
He's out of town,
He's out
so
of
I
town,
can
okay.
see if he can log in.
So, just let them know both days, there's, obviously we have one member that's gonna be out of town, doesn't matter, we have one member that can attend Thursday, that wouldn't be able to attend Tuesday. Cheryl, you will believe the day?
Depending on when it is, did you say July?
No, it would be next week, so next
Oh,
Tuesday. And we're thinking earlier, I can do, if it's Thursday, I have to do the earliest time because I'm not available later.
I can do any time on Thursday.
Okay. So it would be based on their schedule as well.
Where are we gonna do it?
In the IRC.
In the RC, okay, here.
So Tuesday would be my preference as well, just my schedule, so.
Okay.
But I'll get back to them and see, and then Aaron will send an email out.
Sure.
And then also with that, talking about meeting in July, having our reorganization meeting for July. People want to look at our calendars. Is anyone away within the first 2 weeks of July? Or June 3rd week?
I'm away during the July 4th weekend.
I don't think we can hold a meeting on the 4th of July.
No, what I mean, I'm in New York.
That would be fun, but yeah.
The 11th?
I can do the 11th.
I can also do the 11th. I'm just checking. Okay.
When is the?
Okay. So we'll schedule our next school committee meeting, which will be the reorganization meeting, or is the 6:30 work for everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, so 6:30,
We could, I'm sorry, 6:30
Yeah.
on July 11th?
July 11th in the IRC. Okay, so now, future agenda items. So Yusuf Burgess, which would be the meeting of the select board that we are determining the date and time, stabilization fund, and school improvement plans. Is there anything else that anyone would like added?
Yeah, I thought after that, I think it was the last meeting, or the meeting before, where we had someone who wanted us to talk about recess and the importance of recess to students, what the new research says, and if there's anything that we should do to maybe add recess time. Wasn't it something we agreed to go on for future agenda? No?
We can add it.
Sure, thank you.
Anything else?
I'm not available on the 11th.
Okay, so we will. We can add it.
And we don't know Tim's availability either.
No. How about the 18th?
I'm available.
I am available.
John, I think you're gone, yeah, that you're at the institute.
Okay, so this will be an email. We'll take care of this in an email. All right, so we do have the need for executive session pursuant to Master Law Laws, C, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel, administrative, and athletic staff.
Make a motion to move into executive session.
Second.
We will be, we will be adjourning from executive session. Will you roll call vote? Bill?
Yes.
Cheryl?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.